Hey everybody, welcome back. It is the Razzball Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I am Beaton, joined by the one, the only, the Fantasy Master Lothario, the man underneath the water firing torpedoes. Gray Albright, how's it going over there, Gray?
What's going on, man? I also I don't know how to tell you this, but I also got into I've been selling ringworm medicine. I have a couple customers, Jerickson Profar. I don't know. Have you heard of him?
I have heard of him, Gray. And as you mentioned, he's reportedly tested positive for clostebol. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not. But a banned substance, which he claims was in some ringworm medication that he took. I mean, I have to ask Gray, I didn't realize ringworm medication was sold over the counter. I figured that would be something you would need a prescription for. But hey, Jerickson Profar obviously had a great season last year, maybe a little too good. What are your thoughts here, Gray? Anything really?
Yeah. Oh my God. So many thoughts. He was my number one customer for the ringworm medicine. Of course I have thoughts. I mean, who else am I going to sell ringworm medicine to? You don't really believe that there's a large customer base for this, do you? I have a backlog here. I have closets and closets filled with ringworm medicine, and you don't think this is a big deal for me? Of course it's a big deal. God damn. Oh man. I mortgaged my house for this ringworm medicine. Now who am I going to sell it to? I don't want to do a poo poo on Jerickson Profar's previous season that was actually quote unquote good. But maybe that's why it was good. maybe going out on a limb, feeling pretty safe out on this limb, but I'm out on a limb and I'm going to say maybe that's why Jerickson Profar's season was so good last year. I don't know. I literally don't know. Also, who was Profar playing with last year? Not to cast aspersions, but who was Profar's teammate last year? Was it I forget. Let's we'll let the audience figure that one out. But yeah, it looks like two can play that ringworm medicine game, huh? I don't even. I'm literally just riffing. I don't even know what Profar gets suspended for. I have no clue. But yeah, I don't know. I would probably venture a guess that Profar was good last year for a very specific reason. But who am I? Who am I to say? Maybe he just happened to be good last year for the first time ever, and now he's suspended for taking a banned substance. Yeah, who's to say though, really, right? I mean, it just could be a coincidence. Is it a coincidence? I don't know. But yeah, I was out on Jerickson Profar, as I think most people were. I feel like no one really trusted his 2024 season coming into this year in draft season. So it's not like, I mean, I feel like most people were expecting him to just be worse versus be suspended. So, I think you got your worse in some respects. Yeah, I will say that this does open up I would guess it would open up some time probably so they have Verdugo, who I'm assuming is going to come up at some point. They have Jared Kelenic, who probably will get some more extra at bats, and they also have Brian De La Cruz, who could see more at bats. Obviously Ronald Acuna Jr. is coming back at some point, so at that point, I would guess it'll become somewhat of a timeshare with Kelenic and Verdugo and Brian De La Cruz to a certain extent. I don't know how the timeshare is going to work, but I would say it probably helps them all three of those guys get at bats. Whereas when Acuna was going to return, I didn't think there was going to be at bats really for Kelenic, De La Cruz, and Verdugo. But now that Profar's gone, there will be at bats. So yeah, bummer if you expected Profar to repeat last year, but in some ways you were rooting for a cheater. So it's kind of on you. That's on you, man. Sorry.
Well, it is what it is, Gray. I'm not going to speculate whether he was doing it last year or not. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, yes, Brian De La Cruz, obviously, he's already up. Alex Verdugo was sent to the minors. You got to assume he's being called back up to help fill this spot. I think the others, question is, how does the Braves lineup adjust? I mean, I would, for the time being, I would assume there's a Albies Harris kind of split at 1, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, until Acuna returns.
Yeah, I mean, we still have another month to give or take for Acuna to come back.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would guess Michael Harris II gets moved up to leadoff. I would assume. Maybe they actually Brian Snitker isn't really one to mix and match. He kind of just runs out the same lineup every day, no matter what's going on, whether they're slumping or doing well. You get the same lineup from him. But yeah, I would assume Michael Harris II moves up. That would be my assumption. I guess the other thing could be, I guess, potentially. No, yeah, I was gonna say Albies, but I doubt it. It's probably gonna be Michael Harris II until Acuna returns. And then he'll probably, I would guess Michael Harris II would then move back down to the 6 hole, or maybe potentially get some at bats in the 2 hole. But yeah, I would guess it would be Michael Harris II. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's getting, I don't know. I think against lefties, you'll get Albies. But yeah, I agree. Against righties, it's probably Harris. And then yeah, we'll see what happens when Acuna comes back. It's traditionally been Acuna Albies 1-2, but it's a different year, so maybe we'll see an adjustment. But like you said, Snicker's also not one to make a whole lot of adjustments, so he may just very well just slot in the lineup that he's had since he's been there pretty much, and just run that out. So we will see what happens there. Gray, there was an issue over in Yankee Stadium where they put up 20 runs, 9 home runs, 3 by Aaron Judge, who's not using the new Torpedo bats. If you haven't seen them, the Torpedo bat is kind of thicker in the middle section and thinner on the ends a little bit.
Beat on. This is a family show. Easy on the description of a torpedo bat.
Hey, we have to talk about the shaft of the torpedo bat.
We're
just talking about the things. It's not like I'm talking about the knob and then how big it is or anything like that. We're just
again an MA 14 rating now. Oh man.
Hey, I think we're still getting sponsorability, so we're okay, Gray. As long as YouTube doesn't take away the money that they don't pay us, it'll be okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
when my dog Ted humps my leg, his torpedo bat comes out. It's really weird. so yeah, I've had experience with a torpedo bat, and I don't necessarily like it, to be honest.
So great. Over half the Yankees are using this bat. Aaron Judge isn't one, by the way. He said basically, I'm pretty good without it, so why would I use it? That's fair on his part. However, pretty much every other Yankee, other than Paul Goldschmidt, who uses it, has hit a home run and did in that game, Gray. Any thoughts on the Torpedo bats? It sounds like the Braves have already put in an order for one. It seems like
I got an idea for a lovely present. If you're a Boston Red Sox fan, I would buy one for Rafael Devers very fast. It's actually, they should do a GoFundMe for torpedo bats for Rafael Devers. You just go log into GoFundMe.com/Red Sox really need a torpedo bat for Rafael Devers. I have thoughts on the torpedo bats. My big thought is the Brewers just might not be good. That's my big takeaway is the Brewers pitching could be a mess potentially. I saw a part of the game on Saturday and part of the game on Sunday, and they just don't look good. Like Savalier looked terrible. Nestor Cortez, I mean, awful. He didn't make the Yankees rotation in the postseason for a good reason. I mean, the one time he was brought in, he gave up like one of the biggest home runs in World Series history. He's terrible. He's a mess. Nestor Cortez has been bad for a while. Aaron Savalier has not been good. The bullpen was stretched thin. I love baseball. The great thing about baseball is, why I often talk about like hot potatoes and that sort of thing, is like the great thing is players get hot and they get into a zone, and even though it doesn't really make any logical sense, because it's like you would guess that most players it's like baseball over the course of 6 months evens itself out, and you have guys who are going to hit 270 end up hitting 270, but during the course of the year they hit like 450, they hit 170, and you average it all together and they end up hitting 270. But that's the great thing about baseball, is like guys get like they get mental about certain things, and if they get into a good groove and they think the torpedo bat is winning is doing well for them, then there is a chance then it could actually do well for them, because mentally it's making them think it's helping them. Is it really helping them? I mean, I don't know. If I were on another team, though, I would get one. I know, Ryan Jeffers of the Twins, he has a torpedo bat, and the Twins were just almost no hit by Martin Perez today. So, I mean, there goes the torpedo bat narrative when it comes to any player using it. But, if it helps Jazz Chisholm Jr., or at least if he thinks it's helping him, then it could actually help him. Like the narrative could become reality, because it's so, baseball is so mental. It's such a mental sport. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's really making any difference whatsoever. But it was a really good weekend to have Aaron Judge and Jazz Chisholm Jr. and Goldschmidt even got in on the action. Ben Rice hit a home run. There was a bunch of them. I believe Volpe hit a homer. So, yeah, it's great. But it's like only because the Yankees had this huge weekend against, pitching that was really struggling, did this even become a story, because like it's a totally legal bat. It's a non-story. It's really only because the Yankees had a big weekend. I mean, it's really just nonsense. It's like, they want to talk about the torpedo bats, and great. Okay, more power to you, but it really has nothing to do with anything, because, torpedo bat it's a legal bat that can be used by any player. Like I mentioned, Ryan Jeffers uses a torpedo bat, so it doesn't matter. But if the players are thinking it matters, then it could potentially help them, just like mentally, feel like they're in the zone or whatever. So yeah, I that's sort of my take on it.
Ryan Jeffers, who put up his career high home runs last year. I don't know, Gray. I think there might be more to this than what you do. It sounds like, I just think like baseball bats.
I don't know if Ryan Jeffers used it last year. I just know he's using it this year.
So, I mean, but baseball bats have been the same for, I don't know, my entire life and then some. Like, there had to have been some innovation at some point. Like, I kind of think this might be something. I don't know if it's a huge advantage, but I think if you hit the barrel of the bat, if you hit it in the part that you're supposed to, and that's not the biggest sweet spot, coming from a golfer, that doesn't make any sense. Like, where you want to hit should be the biggest area to hit it. So I actually think there might be something to this, kind of in the way that golf clubs have evolved greatly and continue to year after year. But baseball kind of decided, we have a bat, it's okay, we're just going to keep it. But recent years, we've seen different things happen. So I think it's kind of all an experiment to see if it does work. But I could definitely see something here. I'm not saying it's for sure, and I'm not, putting all those guys in the 50 home run club right now. But I do think that maybe there's something there. Like I said, the Braves put in an order for them, so it can't be nothing. Nico Horner's using it. Dansby Swanson's using it. There's a few other people using it, so it's not strictly Yankees. But we'll see. We'll monitor the Torpedo bat users and see how this goes. In addition to that, Gray, we're also wondering if the juice balls are back. Home runs are up compared to last year. We talked about it. I kind of joked seriously about it in the preseason, saying it's an odd year. Every odd year we get juice balls. Very early, obviously, but home run per 9 is up. Home run to fly balls up. Do you think there's a potential that we have juice balls, or just a fun opening weekend here?
Yeah, no, I mean, anything is really on the table at this point. It could be that the juice ball is back, or it could be that it's just 4 games into the season. So yeah, it's too early to say for me, but I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's probably too early, but I saw some pretty crappy swings get out over these first few days, so it's another thing we'll monitor. In regards to the home runs by the Yankees on the speed sides, the Pirates have 15 stolen bases already, which is, kind of a Nationals pace from last year, which is crazy. In regards to facing teams early in the season, the Pirates really aren't on this list.
The
But we talked about the Yankees.
The Pirates had 15 steals. So the Pirates were running in a series where the Marlins were walking off. There's something there. I'll work on it. Go.
Yeah, maybe just fine tune that and then get back to us, Gray. No, I mean, from a starting your lineups perspective, Gray, have you seen enough that, like, I think we were already avoiding the Dodgers. That was already one we were avoiding. Anybody else early in the season that you're just like, right now, I just don't want to see it against my starters unless it's an elite guy?
Yeah, no one really outside of the Dodgers right now. I don't even really think. I mean, we'll see on the Yankees. I'm not really scared of the Yankees. I mean, you had to expect probably a little bit of a blow up if you were starting Nestor Cortez or Savalier in Yankee Stadium. So I'm not 100%. It's still early. The Dodgers lineup is good though, so it's not like that has that's going to change necessarily. But yeah, I mean, I think the D-backs have looked good. It's early though, so we'll see. The Yankees obviously have looked good, but I don't know. There's also the Yankees lineup is it's Jazz, Judge, and then Volpe, I guess, and then it kind of falls off pretty fast. So I'm not convinced the Yankees are going to be some sort of powerhouse when it comes to hitting. They could be. We'll see. It's still early.
Yeah, I think all things equal, I would take the top 4 run score teams from last year, who are 4 of the top 5 run score teams so far in a very small sample. The other one being the Cubs, who have obviously played 2 extra games. Dodgers, Yankees, D-backs, and Orioles. Again, they were top 4 last year. They're 4 of the top 5 so far. If I can avoid it with non-elite pitchers, I'm probably just going to avoid those 4. But that's again, that's not really anything different from last year. That has more to do with what they did last year than really what we've seen this year, other than again that 1 run or that 20-run game looking really scary if you're going against the Yankees and they happen to start the season hot here.
Yeah, the team that looks really bipolar right now is like the Phillies. Like they looked pretty good in a couple of their games, and then against Mackenzie Gore, who I like, but I mean against Mackenzie Gore and Herman Marquez, they look terrible. So I mean I don't. It's just like it's 2 games where they looked good and 2 games where they looked bad. It probably doesn't mean anything, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, shout out longtime donkey teeth favorite Herman Marquez. I actually saw he got signed, and I was like, oh god, he's still pitching. Wow, I didn't realize that was happening still. Speaking of guys that we like, Gray, how fast do you go about dropping players? Because obviously, we spent all off season studying, researching, and drafting guys. Do you then turn around and cut them immediately and pick up whoever started the season hot? What's your thought process?
You know what? I've already dropped Ellie De La Cruz. I was, it's like
Francisco Lindor and Soto.
You can only wait so long, okay? Like you come out of the gate hot or you're gone. That's how I work here.
Get a home run first week or get off my roster.
I think everyone probably has at least a player or two that they feel like they could pick up or drop in like the first week, which is fine. I mean, as long as you know where to draw the line when it comes to which players to pick up or drop. Like, for instance, we were just talking about, Profar. So Jared Kelenic, he looks good. I mean, if he's going to get more at bats, that's kind of interesting. I would pick him up. But on the other hand, if someone else appears on waivers, I would be happy to drop Kelenic in like a 12 or a 10, 12, or even a 15 team league if something better appears. But like, it's also depends on what the size league is. Like, it's like the last guy on your team, hitter or pitcher wise, you should be able to identify that when you're looking at your team. Like, you should be able to look at your team and be like, well, I have Hunter Goodman, who's been good, man. he's looked good, man. And he's playing every day, and he's got catcher eligibility. So maybe I can move on from like, another catcher who I have who hasn't been good. Like, I don't know, Elias Diaz maybe, or even in a shallower league, like in our RCL league, I dropped Logan O'Hoppe this weekend because I had Hunter Goodman. I like Logan O'Hoppe. He could end up being fine. He can end up being great, actually. But I just was like, I got Hunter Goodman. I'm not carrying 2 catchers, but it really depends on your team and your league, like how deep your league is. Like there should be a guy or two on the end of your roster that you feel fine picking up and dropping, or excuse me, a guy in your roster who you should feel fine dropping. And there should be a guy on waivers who you can probably pick up. And that's really in any league. Like even in my NL only league, like I was able, like in my Tout Wars league this week, I picked up Alex Vesia, the Dodgers reliever, just to have a warm body, and I was able, and I think I dropped Stephen Kolek, the Padres minor leaguer, who looked like he might have broke camp with the team, but ended up not breaking camp. But that's what I mean, though. Like you could have like one player on your team at least who's droppable at all times to be able to pick someone up off of waivers who gets a boost in value because of like an injury. Like for instance, Jordan, not Jordan, excuse me. What the Orioles guy who just got hurt. Colton Cowser. Colton Cowser just fractured his thumb. So, when that happens, you should have a guy in your team that you can drop and pick up Heston Kjerstad because he's going to get more playing time now. So there should always be a guy on your team you're able to pick up, drop for when a guy on waivers becomes available that you want to pick up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. I think in general, if we're talking about guidelines for people that you're gonna look at dropping, like you said, it's gonna be the last few people you selected. If we're looking at ADP numbers, I would say the numbers somewhere in like the 200 to 225 range. Anybody after that that's not performing probably can go. I mean, if they were like a high upside guy who happened to make a roster, maybe you want to hang on to them. But past that, if they're not performing, you can probably move on and go try and find something. But again, it's very early. I wouldn't take too much from somebody hitting one home run in the first 5 games. If you liked somebody, I mean, there's several guys who are not performing and several that are. And you just got to make up your own kind of mind as you're going through, as you said, like know your league, who you can drop, what replacement level looks like. Like if you're gonna drop, I don't know. I'm trying to think of somebody who's not been real good off the bat here, but if you're dropping kind of a 4th outfielder type, it's probably not going to end up hurting you too much. But it is what it is. Do you have any memorable drops, Gray, that came back to haunt you? Anything sticks with you for your life now?
No, I mean, the best thing you can do is is have like the memory of a dog. Like as soon as you drop someone, just forget about it. It's never gonna help you to remember a player you dropped or a player you traded away. It's never gonna be something that comes back to be like, wow, great move. So that's awesome. The best is, if you're able to pick up someone, so you can, and he does, and that player does well, then you can hold on to that memory, I guess. but really, be very stingy about which things you hold on to in your life. That's my.
There you go.
That's my Grayism for the day.
Yeah, some of us remember our best wins. Some of us remember our best beats or worst beats, Gray. Luckily for you, it sounds like you're a wins guy. I'm more of a what are my worst beats type of guy. So yeah, it happens to all of us. Dynasty ones hurt worse. But let's move on to a dynasty player that everybody should be interested
the dynasty one that I hold on to. Since you brought it up, in my keeper league, I still remember I had Hanley Ramirez as a rookie in an NL only league where I could have kept him forever, and I traded him away for Brett Myers, who ended up being terrible that year. I mean, Brett Myers had some decent years, but he was terrible that year. And I gave away Hanley Ramirez, who was so good for like a good 10 years, where I gave him away for like nothing. It was terrible. I've been cursed in that league too. Anyway, let's move on.
Poor Gray, trading or dropping Hanley back into the pool. Yeah, that hurts Gray. Kristian Campbell did not get dropped back into the pool. He made the Red Sox roster. And Roman Anthony, the Red Sox literally waited till the last moment possible to demote him. I was still drafting him, thinking he might have a chance. But Kristian Campbell has hit the ground running. He's hit at least a home run. He's hitting over 400. Where do you have Kristian Campbell rest of season? Is this somebody that you're willing to trade for? Would you trade him away on kind of the hype of him making, or is this a hold and enjoy situation?
Well, with trades, it always comes down to like what you can get for a guy. So it depends on, team makeup and what your trade partner is willing to give you. So we'll put that aside. But I will say with Kristian Campbell, I think I said in my rookie outlook post for him, which was out in like beginning of November. So I wrote it in like October. It was like between him, Dylan Cruz, Dominguez, and Roman Anthony were the big four for who would be the top rookie for this year. Of course, at the time, I didn't know. I don't think I knew Cam Smith was even an option that was going to be on the table. So we'll put that aside. But with Kristian Campbell, I did feel like he could have been the top rookie of the year for fantasy, even back in like October of last year. And he was the top. I believe he was the top minor league player of the year last year for all minor leagues. So he was. I mean, Kristian Campbell could be excellent. Like last year, 20 homers, 24 steals, 330 average, under 20% strikeout rate, over 14% walk rate. Really good. I mean, and now he's in Fenway for home games. Obviously, you have the wall there where he can just like pound the wall. He's a righty. He can hit balls off the wall, rack up the doubles. I really like Kristian Campbell. At the end of spring training, when I finally knew he was breaking camp, I moved him up in my rankings to around I think 190 overall. So, off the top of my head, who else was around 190 overall?
Would you rather have him or Brandon Lau?
I would go Kristian Campbell over Brandon Lau.
Him or Jackson Holiday?
Campbell over Holiday, who Holiday has looked good early on, but I'm still not sold on the tools being there this year.
Campbell or Nico?
Yeah, Nico's looked pretty bad. That's a kind of a needs situation because Nico is going to help you more in steals than Kristian Campbell is going to help you, but he's not going to help you as much in power. Maybe, average probably about the same. So that's pretty close. I think I have Nico Hoerner over Campbell in my rankings, and I would hold to that for right now. But that could change. But I'll go Hoerner over Campbell.
Yeah, I would too for now. How about randomly not on the IL, Spencer Steer?
I know, right? I don't really think Spencer Steer is healthy. I would be selling on Spencer Steer. I don't like the whole his shoulder is not good enough for him to play in spring training games. And then the day before the season, it's oh yeah, he's fine though. What? Wait, what? Time out, guys. He couldn't play for a month and now he's fine. Are you sure? So yeah, I'm out on Spencer Steer.
All right, one last one, Gray. Would you take him or, as you mentioned him, Cam Smith?
I'm going Cam Smith over Kristian Campbell, but pretty close.
Interesting. Okay, I think I would actually go Campbell over Smith. I just think the plate discipline is going to play so well. The power speed may not completely transfer over, but I just think the plate discipline is going to be so elite. But yeah, that one can kind of go either way. I also think he has the speed, which always kind of gives him an advantage in our game when you can add stolen bases to the mix, just in regards to player value. But yeah, I either one could kind of win that one. Moving on to some pitcher stuff, Gray. There's two sides of this one. There's obviously, I drafted the guy, he's doing well, and then there's, oh crap, the guy I drafted it's not going well. So now what do I do? So let's talk about a few early, pitchers. Is it time to panic? I'm going to start at the very top, and you can just tell me it's ridiculous if we need to do that. And that is Tariq Skubal. He went 5 innings, 4 earned runs. He gave up 2 home runs, 2 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Obviously, it was at the Dodgers is maybe the worst possible assignment in all of baseball right now. But any concerns on him?
No.
Okay. Moving on to Dodgerland on the opposite side, Roki Sasaki had a not so great first inning and really off to a tough start here. He only went an inning and 2/3 versus Detroit. Gave up 2 earned. He had 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. And in the game versus the Cubs, he went 3 innings, only gave up 1 earned, but had 5 walks, 3 strikeouts. Has had some trouble finding the zone so far. Are you concerned? What level of concern? What are you looking at here with Roki?
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. I'll be honest. I don't love what I'm seeing so far. I mean, he's got 9 walks in 4 2/3. He's got a 17.4 walk per 9. Nah, it's not good. It's a little bit. It's a little high. I would say. I would say it's a little bit of a concern. It is only 4 2/3 innings, so there is that. And the promising thing is he can't find the zone, but hitters don't seem like they can square up his stuff either. So it's like, so there is that. I mean, there is I think a little bit of a positive that he doesn't know where the ball's going, but the hitters don't know where the ball's going either. So that's good. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because the Dodgers, I mean, we're not talking about like, the Marlins here. Like the Dodgers have plenty of pitching. They have plenty of guys who could fill in. I wouldn't be shocked if he can't find the plate in like the next two or three starts. I wouldn't be shocked if we're in May, we're talking about him going down to the minors to try and figure it out and then gets brought back, later on in the season because, they don't necessarily need him. So they could I could see a scenario where he could get demoted, which would be terrible. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think that's the worst case scenario. There's also a chance here that by his next start, he figures it out. I think it's going to be in Philadelphia though. So I don't know. Maybe it's not Philadelphia, but I know the Dodgers go to Philadelphia for a road stand soon. So road series, homestand, road series. Anyway, I'm concerned. I wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. I don't think it would be too conservative for you to like bench him for one start just to see him, throw a good start before you start pitching him again. Because at this point, I feel like the best you're going to get is 5 innings, 10 Ks, and like a bad whip. So, like the best you're going to get is something that's good, but not really that amazing. So I would just bench him probably until we saw a good start because it's early enough in the season where he can figure it out. I think he needs to figure it out though, because nothing looks right in his game right now.
Yeah, I mean the stuff looks good. It's moving, as you mentioned. Nobody's really hitting it hard. So from that front, it looks good. He just needs to kind of figure out, get it over the plate. It's not something that really was a struggle for him in Japan with more selective hitters. So I don't really think it's ultimately going to be an issue. But yes, I agree. I would sit him down until we kind of see him square that up a little bit and figure out the walks. I think we also have to remember, like, new league, new country, new ball. It's all a lot of new things for a very young player. He's not, Yamamoto or Shota, who's coming over as a seasoned veteran. Like, he has a lot of things he's adjusting to. He's essentially pitched in 2 opening days for him. Like, he had opening day in Japan, and then he had another opening game. So I'm willing to give him a pass. I think I would actually trade for him if somebody's just bailing out at this point. But yeah, I'm also not starting him next time out, and it is at Philadelphia, which is not ideal in regards to matchups. Somebody that you really liked, Gray, coming in the draft season, Michael King. He had a rough start to the season. 2 2/3 innings, 3 earned, 4 walks, 3 Ks. I know there was some concern over Michael King just because of, he was a reliever turned starter. Can he adjust to the innings? Are you panicking, or is this just one start and he'll be fine?
For now, it's just one start. I'm not worried about him. His velocity looks fine. It was a bad 3 innings. So yeah, I'm okay for now.
Yeah, I would say as long as the velocity is there, it's okay. He does ride that like 93, 94 line that's very close to falling off. So if it does fall off, I might be concerned. So just monitor the velocity, but as long as that stays okay, I don't think there's going to be big problems yet. Zach Gallen went 4 innings, 4 earned run, 4 Ks, 4 walks, allowed 1 home run. Gallen was kind of a little bit of a split guy in the preseason. Where are you at on him now?
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned here. Again, it's only one start. This isn't like this isn't like a major like sell. I'm like, panicked, but his velocity was down. So I would be watching his next start. I think there's a little bit of like, there's a part of me that's like, he's a vet, and he came out of the gate with his velocity was down, but that's just, he's just building up strength for the season. So it's not a big deal. The other part of me is like, he's had a lot of arm troubles, and if his velocity is down, could be a bad thing. So yeah, I'm a little concerned with Gallen.
Yeah, I mean, he still has some really good pitches. It's not like it's all falling off on him. But yeah, the fastball is down a little bit in velocity. And just the control of the fastball has kind of been a little wonky. And that was kind of the problem last year, was he just wasn't able to locate it. As you mentioned, velocity's down and it's down below 93. So we really need to see him jump that back up. But he also had struggles with velocity at the beginning of the last 2 seasons. So not panicking yet on Zach Gallen, but kind of in the same mold as Sasaki. I also wouldn't be afraid to maybe sit him down and just let him get back into the swing of the season before I trust him. Speaking of trust, Gray, somebody we have had trust issues with before, Jose Barrios went 5 innings, 6 earned, 3 home runs allowed, 2 walks, 5 Ks. I mean, I don't really have that many shares of Barrios just because I just can't fully bring myself to trust him, Gray. I know he's put up back-to-back very strong seasons, and so like sometimes I own him, but this is what I worry about.
Yeah, no, completely. I have real serious trust issues with him. I have been hurt by Jose Barrios a lot. I mean, a lot. Either it's being in on him when he's been awful or out on him when he's been great. It never seems to work out. My timing has been wrong on him so many times. I forget if I mentioned this here or on the site, but I did at one point reach out to a Jays writer, and I said to him, "How is Barrios looking? Because I might draft him, and I'm concerned." I'm concerned he's going to screw me again. So how's he looking? And I was told he looks fine. And now as I look at his numbers, I'd be the first one to start yelling, "I hate him, drop him. He's a terrible person." I would be the first one to be saying those things. But in reality, his numbers do look okay. Like his velocity was actually up a little bit. He just got burned by a couple homers. So I could see buying him low even right now. Don't give much because it is an ulcer waiting to happen. But his numbers don't look bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly some time for him to get it together. It was one bad outing. Hopefully, you weren't starting him versus the Orioles anyways, so you hopefully did get tagged with this one. Yeah, I mean, I think there's still better days to come. He's not going to face the O's every time. That being said, I still don't 100% trust him. So take for that what you want. At the end of the season, I'm sure the numbers will be fine. You're just going to have to go through the usual up and down of sometimes. Let's talk about a few pitchers who didn't struggle, Gray, who actually looked good to start the season. Zach Littell went 6 innings, 1 earned, 7 Ks, no walks. I don't even know if Littell had an assigned rotation spot until like the very end of spring training, but he looked really good in his one outing.
Yeah, I forget. I during our starting pitching podcast, I forget. Were you the one? Did you mention that he looks kind of like a poor man's Logan Webb? Was that you?
Yeah.
Yeah. His numbers look that way still. I mean, I really like him. I don't know if I actually draft him in any league, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. But I do like him a lot. I think he's his command plays so well. The fact that he walks literally no one, I think could really be, he could be a solid pitcher even in tough matchups. Now, his first matchup of the year was against the Rockies. So, I mean, they're a terrible team. Hunter Goodman aside, I mean, the Rockies are really bad. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be a cakewalk for every start out, but he doesn't walk anyone. Last year he had 31 walks and over 156 innings. I mean, it was a lot. I mean, that is really good. He's excellent when it comes to command. So I think even if even in terrible matchups, he could end up actually having decent value. So I like him a lot.
Yeah, I do too. I grabbed him any league that he was available still. Because I think he's just gonna be a nice kind of whip regulator for me, and if he can get Ks like he did versus the Rockies, there might even be a little bit more there to juice. Jack Leiter, another surprise rotation maker. Maybe not a surprise, but 5 innings, 1 earned, 4 Ks, 1 walk. What do you think about Jack Leiter? And I guess we'll just compare him to Littell. Who would you rather have?
Littell, but I'm interested in Leiter more so than I was like probably 3 months ago when I wrote up my rankings to begin with, because originally I had the assumption that his command was going to be terrible again because it had been so bad for the previous career,
Yeah.
literally every year. So if he can figure that out, though, I mean, if he can figure out his command, he could be excellent. I don't think we haven't really seen excellent from him though at any point. And I don't even think his first start was usable, decent, but I mean, it didn't make me want to run out and grab him necessarily in shallower leagues. Like for instance, our RCL league, I picked him up and then dropped him, and I didn't run back to waivers and try and pick him up again. And that's a 12-team mixed league. I don't know if he's necessarily worthwhile to hold on to for every start in a 12-team mixed league yet. But that's a daily league. In a weekly league, yes, I think Leiter probably plays in say an NFBC 12-team weekly league. Then Leiter is someone you probably want to roster. But in a daily league where you can stream as much as you can, like in an RCL, I don't know if Jack Leiter is really worthwhile yet, but he could be. I mean, I'll be watching him to see. He could potentially break out. I don't think we've seen it yet, though.
I agree. I don't think we've seen it yet, and I would rather have Littell. I think if it's anything 15-team and deeper, Leiter should be owned. But 12-team, especially RCL, where we only have very limited bench space. I think he's more of a streamer. Maybe he belongs on somebody's roster, but he doesn't belong on everybody's roster type of thing. Osvaldo Bido, he went 5 innings, 1 earned, 4 Ks, 4 walks. He was a very popular sleeper. Then it got announced he wasn't going to make the rotation, and then he made the rotation, Gray. So where are you at on Bido? And do you like him more than Leiter?
I would take Leiter over Bido because of the upside. I don't mind Bido though. I think there could be something there. But I mean his command could be a little bit wonky, and also he's a pitcher on the A's, so I don't know if the wins are going to be there. He hasn't really ever thrown a ton of innings, so I don't even know if the innings are going to be there. So big pitcher, I don't know if he's going to be the answer, even in deeper leagues. But for now, I could see rostering him in like a 15-team mixed league and deeper. In a 12-team, I don't think he's worthwhile yet, outside of maybe as a streamer.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably where he belongs. And I'm more interested if he didn't pitch for the A's in a minor league stadium for sure. And then one more, Gray. Max Meyer, 5 2/3, 1 earned, 7 Ks, 1 walk, 1 home run allowed. I think at the end of draft season, we knew he was going to make the roster, but another one that through most of draft season was kind of in limbo.
Yeah.
Where are you thinking about Max Meyer?
Oh, he looks great. I mean, his velocity was up. He looked fantastic. I mean, it's obviously, I mean, it's the Pirates, so his opponent was the Pirates, so yeah, they're terrible. there's a lot of terrible teams. I mean, there's a good 15 terrible teams out there. So even some of the good teams have like terrible players in the middle of their lineup. I noticed there was a guy on the Rangers, Jonathan Ornelas. It was in the middle of the lineup for the Rangers, and I was like, honestly, I had no idea. I had no idea, I mean, I really I pay attention to these things. I don't know. Anyway, Max Meyer looks great. His velocity was up, like I said. It struck out a bunch of guys. I'm really interested in Max Meyer because, he was a top prospect not that long ago. He got a little bit derailed for a while there, but if he's good again, yeah, man, sign me up for sure. Probably Lydell first, then Meyer, then Leiter, then Beto.
Yeah, I might swap Meyer and Littell, but that one's kind of in between. So yeah, I'm with you on that order, Gray. Let's SAGNOF it up. Let's move over to the bullpen, Gray. Over in Cleveland, Emmanuel Clase had a.
What about Pittsburgh? Shit the Bednar. I honestly, I feel like someone should step in and be like, hey, Derek Shelton, hey, Pirates manager, I don't think you should be using the same guy to close anymore since he's been bad for the last 8 months. The poor guy. I mean, I understand loyalty to a certain extent, but I mean, this is ridiculous what they've done. The Pirates lost 3 games. The Marlins walked off the Pirates 3 times this weekend. And it's not because the Marlins are good. Let's just be clear about that. And the Pirates actually, Dennis Santana, I think looks decent. I mean, let Dennis Santana get a save and let Bednar figure it out in the 7th inning or something, or even, I don't know. I mean, try Holderman even. I don't know. I prefer Santana though. I would go Dennis Santana, then Holderman if I were if I had my druthers when it came to the Pirates bullpen. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You were going to say about someone else.
No, that's okay. I agree. It's probably Dennis Santana that I would want to target. He was good last year. Yeah, I don't think I own Bednar on a single team because I honestly didn't think he would break camp as the closer because he's not good, Gray.
So bad.
Yes, over in Cleveland though, somebody who is good, Emmanuel Clase. He had a kind of shaky first outing, gave up an earned run. Somebody, they brought in and he got the win, but not the save. Any concerns over what was kind of the consensus number 1 closer, Gray?
Yeah, I do actually. He's one of the guys where Rudy in our in the Razzball staff picks, Rudy called Clase his bust of the year, and if it were up to me to I would also have said Clase if it wasn't for the fact that I don't believe in drafting top closers, so it's kind of like a moot point for me to say don't draft Clase because I've already said don't draft Clase. But I wouldn't go anywhere near Clase. I think there's something. I think since the playoffs of last year, I think there's been something wrong. His velocity is way down. I would be concerned if I had him. I would actually look to be moving him in a trade. I do think it's a little early to say like he's cooked necessarily. I don't think he's necessarily cooked, but I wouldn't be surprised if things get worse. And also the Guardians have a ton of options that are Cade Smith is like an excellent option, but they're not going to just replace Clase. I mean, he is the closer. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting Clase is going to get removed from the job, but there might be something else going on with him because his velocity is down.
Yeah, velocity is down a little bit. He's still throwing like 97 miles an hour, so it's not the most concerning thing for me in regards to velocity. Hearing that Rudy didn't like him, and I see Steamer in general is by far the lowest projection system on him. So something in the numbers that Steamer didn't like from last year, which is amazing that they found something to not like about the numbers last year a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I could see it. In regards to the number one closer, like that is so much opportunity and strikeouts based. He was never a huge strikeouts guy. So, if he loses the full-time closer and they start mixing it up, that would be where I think it hurts a little bit. I don't think he's ever going to lose. I shouldn't say ever. I don't think he's losing the closer role anytime soon, but they could go to kind of we'll give you a day off here. We're going to bring somebody else in right now and just kind of play that game. I don't know. I guess if you can move him as the number one closer, I would. But like you said, neither of us really tend to draft number one closer most of the time anyways. Over in Detroit, Jason Foley was expected to be the closer, albeit one we weren't overly excited about. He gets demoted before the season starts, Gray, which completely blows it open. Bo Brasky, he already blew it. He blew it already. Tom Conley, Will Vest, Tyler Holton. Who do you want from this bullpen? I mean, again, I think we'd both just avoid it if we could, but there are leagues where you need every single save. If you need them, who are you picking up from this group?
Brisky is, I think it's how they say brewski in Canada, a brewski, a brewski. I would go Holton. I don't necessarily want Holton, but I would go Holton. I don't think it's clear. It's completely clear. And honestly, this is kind of, at this point, it's a situation where I don't know if it's going to get clear. I'm not 100% sure this is a situation that's going to clarify itself. But I would go Holton for right now.
Okay. I don't really have a strong leaning here, so I will just agree with you, Gray, and we'll go with Holton. I did grab Brasky and a few. Bill Brasky. I grabbed him in a few leagues just because I thought he would get the first opportunity, and he did. And I wish I hadn't, Gray. Over with the Rangers, we really didn't know who it was all off season. It seems like maybe Luke Jackson's the guy you want right now. Do you agree with that, or would you rather have somebody else there?
No, I would say Luke Jackson seems like the guy to have, but I don't think that's going to be. I don't think that's all said and done either. I mean, I would guess. I would take the under. If you said 7 saves for Luke Jackson this year, I would take the under. But we'll see. I personally think Chris Martin or Robert Garcia is probably a better option. That Bruce Bochy just has to figure out. It's just that thought, those thoughts travel around Bochy's head. It takes a while sometimes. It's like, it's not necessarily the the express. It's like you're taking the local when you're in Bochy's head and you're a thought. So we'll see. I would probably go Chris Martin as my number one guy for most saves in Texas. But right now, it's Luke Jackson is the guy to roster. And that's really all you have to know at this point. It's like, go for the guy that Bruce Bochy happens to be turning to for saves. And that's Luke Jackson. So we'll see how long it lasts, but that's the guy to have.
Yeah, and actually, if you're chasing saves and it's a deeper league, I don't mind grabbing both of them, and just kind of writing this one out. Like you said, I think it's Luke Jackson for now, but I think Chris Martin is better ultimately. So I also think the possible closer long term is still maybe not even on the roster. I think they could look at making a trade, or there's still a few reliever arms out there they could look at. So we'll monitor that. But Luke Jackson for now, Chris Martin, if you want to speculate. How about the Reds, Gray? Emilio Pagan got the first opportunity. Obviously, we got the news Alexis Diaz was going on the IL for the season. So it was Emilio Pagan in the first opportunity. Do you want him? Or, there's also Graham Ashcraft, Tony Santillan. What are you thinking in Cincy?
Yeah, I went, actually I got Pagan in Tout Wars, which is a 12-team NL only. And I was happy to get Pagan there. And if I get 5 to 7 saves, I would be happy with that. I wouldn't expect more though. At some point, Diaz is going to return, and they're not going to Diaz. They don't have a closer that's just going to be that's going to run away with the job. And Diaz really only pitches the 9th inning for them. So I would assume Diaz returns and gets most of the saves there. But for right now, I'd go Pagan just because he got a save. No other reason really. That's it. I would go Pagan, and hopefully he gets maybe another 5 to 7 saves before Diaz returns.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would grab Pagan, and I think, he can get a handful of saves before they get healthy. Let's move over to the waivers. Greg, give the people some names they can go grab and help out their rosters this week.
Well, there's this guy. It's called Max Muncy, but it's not that one. It's a different one. So I say, honestly, I feel like if you're gonna do names like Max Muncy, I say have an entire team, every player have their name be Max Muncy. If you have one, great. But once you do a second one, you need to have everyone be Max Muncy. That's it. That's the rules. So I don't mind Max Muncy, the Oakland, excuse me. Oh, sorry. Pardon me. The soon to be Vegas, the Sacktown A's, Max Muncy. I don't mind him for maybe 15 team or deeper. Potentially, we'll see what happens. He's been playing every day, so there's that. He hit a home run the other. I think on Friday he hit a home run. So there's maybe something there. Kyle Manzardo looks really good. Maybe we'll talk about him next week in a bigger way, but he looks great. If he continues to stay hot, we promise to talk about him. And Spencer Torkelson, again, if he stays hot right now, we only have a sample size of 4 games. So it's really hard to say, who's actually hot and who's just a schmatato. But right now, Torkelson looks really good. Victor Scott II looks really good. Wilyer Abreu looks great. I have Jordan Beck in one league randomly, and he's been stealing bases, which has been really nice. And also going back to the Sacktown A's, Tyler Soderstrom has looked incredibly good. So yeah, there's some names. It's still real early. Also, Tommy Edman has been great. Tommy Edman probably should be at 100% rostered. He should be rostered in every league. I mean, he's in a great lineup. He's even hitting at the top of the lineup some days. But anyway, with all that said, it's still early, so it's hard to really get a feel on whether guys are hot or I wouldn't go out and drop, players who you really liked in the preseason after 4 games. But like we mentioned earlier, if you have one spot in your lineup, I don't know, maybe you pick up a Torkelson or a Soderstrom.
Yeah, I mean, actually, depending on who it is, I might do it for a Victor Scott. He looks really fun, and if it is bouncy ball season, he might actually hit a few home runs, and he's already got one, which is like one more than I thought he would hit. So
right, totally. No, and also on Victor Scott II, I know this is more waiver wires, and I don't want to go too in depth, but people are talking about how he's breaking out. And I'll say this, I hope he does break out. I'm fine with him breaking out. I'm not against it. I applaud Victor Scott II. But if he's hitting 8th or 9th all year, it's not. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But hopefully, if he's breaking out, he eventually moves up in the lineup, because right now I see him at the bottom of the lineup in St. Louis, and I'm like, it's okay. I mean, it's not great to be at the bottom of that lineup. So I do think he could break out, though. It's possible, and I would pick him up in every league just in case this is a breakout. But there's a little bit of caveat on the Victor Scott hype.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the Cardinals roster, honestly, if you flipped it over and 9 it was 1 and 1 was 9, it actually wouldn't look that crazy at the end of the year. If you're like, oh yeah, by the way, they ditched Lars Nootbaar, Wilson Contreras, Nolan Arenado, and they put Victor Scott, Mason Wynn, and Jordan Walker 1 through 3. Like, I'd be like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Why weren't they doing that to begin with? So yeah, I think there's some room for Victor Scott to move up, but I'm with you. Like, as the 8-hole hitter who is potentially still in a platoon, like, there's only so much upside with Victor Scott, but it could still be very, very fun, and I'd still like the opportunity. Tommy Edman is a good one, and I think we all just thought, like, there's no way the Dodgers are going to go into the season with Tommy Edman as like a meaningful player on the roster, right? And then they did. So yeah, I think he should probably be picked up. Maybe 98% of leagues, but yeah, most leagues. I'll give you some streaming options. Again, it's early, so I don't have a whole lot for you yet. I don't have a lot of data. We don't know a lot, but hey, here's what we're going to go with. 4 streaming options. Jose Soriano versus Cleveland. He made a couple adjustments in spring and showed a little uptick in velocity, so I'm interested to see him. We get our first, MLB live look at Jackson Jobe. He gets a 2-step at Seattle versus the White Sox. Reese Olson goes versus the White Sox. Tyler McGill had a very good first start. He goes versus Toronto, and Hayden Wesneski is versus San Francisco. So there's a handful of streamers. That is what we got for you this week. If you have questions about your lineup or any of these pickup questions, anything you got, come find us on Twitter. I'm at RazBeaton. Gray is the owner of the @Razball account. Find us on the comment section on razball.com or youtube.com/RazballFantasy, where you can watch our beautiful faces tell you this information rather than just hearing our silky smooth voices, Gray.
Also, if anyone needs any ringworm medicine, I have a lot here that I just came into a lot. So
he had somebody he was looking to sell it to, and now that fell through. I hear, Gray, you're in the right area though. Maybe just move little bit over to San Diego.
Reach out to me. Reach out.
A little bit.
You need ringworm medicine, just reach out.
All right, Gray. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Lates.